vulnerability. You've been rough on just like a guillotine, but I am here to stay. Won't look away. Storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control it in my bones. I'm coming for it, coming for it. I'm coming for the throne. I'm coming for the throne. So you wanna be my enemy? You should've known I'd never kiss the rain. Ice runs in my veins, won't play it safe. I don't belong with your nobody who died and made you king of anything. You think that I'm insane? That's your mistake. Kingdoms rise and fall. I've come to take it all. I'll take it. I've come to take it. Kingdoms rise and fall. I've come to take it all. I'll take it all. Storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control it in my bones. I'm coming for it, coming for it. I'm coming for the throne. I'm coming for the throne.
Yo, I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same. Cause that's what it takes.
All right, guys. Good morning. Happy Thursday, January 22nd. Anya, yes, the winter apocalypse 2026 is almost upon us. It's hitting us here in Texas on Saturday around 6 p.m. So we will see. I'm trying to get my last couple days of outdoor exercise in before we got to turtle up by the fireplace for a couple days. So we'll do a brief morning live stream today. I got to then go get some food and get my workout in, and then we'll be back for market close or an evening live stream. There is some news on ONDS. Thank you, Yo9999, for the heads up. I've been busy all morning checking for updates on a couple of other tickers and did not check ONDS, but I do see now that there are a couple of new filings, so let's dig into those. ONDS Holdings, a drone and counter drone and AI type company that we are following here on the channel. And they had their Investor Day conference last week. The interesting thing about this ticker is after that conference, the beginning of this week, we had all of the analysts covering the stock update their 12-month price target to numbers considerably higher than where we're at today, based on the company's communication of expected earnings and revenue over the next 1, 2, 3 years. And it's been whipped around a lot. The price has been whipped around a lot in the past couple days. $11, $14, $11. We're at $12.83 right now. But if we look back at where we've come from, $8 back at the end of December, and even 50 cents earlier last year if we scroll back far enough. At any rate, you can see my supply and demand zones that I am watching here. Demand zones are where I would, me personally, like to add in size, a larger stake. Supply zones, I'm not opposed to buying up here. I have bought up here. But you run into this resistance and the likelihood that some of the froth and the excitement wears off over time until the next news cycle or the next filing, and then you start tumbling back down into the no-no zone. So we'll see what happens. If it breaks through a supply zone, then that is generally bullish if it breaks through to the upside. What are the filings? We had a 144 on January 21st, and then today we have a prospectus and a 8K. So let's take a look at these in order real quick. I have not looked at these. A director, Ron Stern, selling 100,000 shares. Stock option exercise. I can't tell from the notes here if he's just selling shares to cover a stock option exercise or what. There's no footnotes. Sold 1231. This is a history of his sales. It looks like he's had a pattern over the past several weeks of selling. If you got a different take on it, let me know. Let's see what the 8K is from this morning. On January 22nd, the company filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission a supplement to the prospectus to its effective registration statement, covering the resale from time to time by certain stockholders of 1.6 million shares. So basically what they're telling us is that some insiders, probably who funded the company at some point in the past, would like to have their shares registered so that at some point in the future they want to sell them, they can. As previously disclosed on November 17th, those stockholders acquired the shares in connection with the company's acquisition of the issued and outstanding share capital of Century CS Limited. So that is the owner of the shares, 1.6 million. And since we read the 8K, we don't need to reread all this. It's just a supplement to let us know that there could be some future insider selling of 1.6 million shares. So, not the worst. But I do probably want to circle back to who is this guy, Ron Stern, and why is he's had this pattern of selling a lot of shares since the end of December. At any rate, I mean, when the stock runs from 50 cents to $12, $14 and your net worth is tied up in shares, it's not uncommon to take some profits off. But we do want to carefully scrutinize if insiders are selling, because, that could indicate a top of sorts on the stock. So we will see. For me, ONDS, I'm kind of looking at this as long as the company continues to execute a play all the way into 2028 based on the visibility that the company has given us. I'm not trying to load the boat today and then just wait. It's going to be a strategic acquisition for me of adding shares slowly, monitoring management's execution, whatever future acquisitions they have, revenue, communications, margins, etc., etc. Anya, good morning. Yo says, I think Bull is going to move today. Let's look at a couple of other tickers, including Bull. Yeah, Anya, I think I need to go buy a couple of things at the store this morning. But no essentials. If I pull up and the parking lot is full, I'm just going to come back home. GameStop this morning, $22.36, up almost $2 from a couple days ago. Over the last 2 business days, we found out that Ryan Cohen bought $10 to $11 million worth of shares per day, 500,000 plus 500,000. Just as we were saying, we want to carefully scrutinize insider sales, like on ONDS, we want to celebrate insider buys. And I think this is a very, for me, a signal of strength, a cementing of the floor, if you will, around this price level. Does that mean it can't fall below where Ryan Cohen bought? No, it doesn't mean that. He's displaying additional confidence, putting his own money on the line. And I don't usually do the tweet decode thing, but I thought someone had one that was kind of interesting this morning that I came across on X. If you are familiar with Ryan Cohen's profile, where's old Ryan at? Ryan Cohen. He has this Tetris picture as his profile picture. I think he did that back in November. Maybe he's done it before in the past. And the overall picture that you can see on his profile is just the bottom here, this bottom right quadrant. But if you look up where the photo came from, there's a column of 4 blue squares dropping down. And someone said, wouldn't it be funny if he tweeted this out in November, knowing that he was going to do a buy on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and complete the puzzle? I mean, it is kind of funny. I don't do tweet decode stuff. I will be impressed if somebody decoded that and there's another buy today. We'll see. We will see. Just kind of fun stuff. GameStop. Hycroft this morning, $40.83, up 3%. after cooling down a little bit from pre-market yesterday. $48. Oh my gosh, so close to $50 on Hycroft. AMC this morning, $1.62. I'm still on 8K watch, waiting to find out about any exchange of $154 million in convertible notes, exchangeable notes. And then, you know, we're almost to February 2nd now, so we're on prospectus watch also for an upcoming ATM. So keep an eye out on SEC Edgar or AMC Investor Relations for those two filings. That is what I'm expecting. And then we'll go from there. Someone in the comments last night said AMC's going down because the company approved issuing 550 million more shares. And just a technicality here, not to be a nitpicker, but AMC requested shareholder approval to double the authorized shares. That doesn't mean that they approved issuing 550 million more shares or that is imminent. This is just wording and understanding. Now, is there the potential that they're going to, over the next year or two, issue all of those shares? Absolutely. And they probably will, because they've told us over and over they will do whatever they need to do to ensure adequate liquidity and take further steps to repair the balance sheet. So, you know, it would not surprise me over time if they use up those shares. But right now, am I worried about 550 million more shares being dumped into the market? No, not that much. But I do anticipate high probability in my book that at least 200 million will be issued in Q1. And that's a significant amount. And that is probably why the stock has been under pressure. That and other reasons we've gone over to the point that people are probably tired of hearing about it. So I won't bore you on that unless this is your first time here. There's a lot of info on the channel where you can catch up why I'm not holding AMC right now. Webull 808, look at that. A little bit of green, 3.9% up. We keep on bouncing off of this demand zone. I've been attempting to add around 725 this week, but we won't collapse that low, which is fine. My other buys were 806, 781. This is a long-term play for me. A couple years. So it's just another one of those slow, boring, accumulate when it makes sense. We're not going to be talking about it every day on 5-hour live streams. Unity, 4287. Let's check one other meme stock. Finger motion. What's it doing this morning? Down 2%, 115. GNS, Genius Group, another meme stock. None of these are stocks that I'm recommending to you guys. I just try and follow all of the communities and the things that are going on. GNS is embroiled in several lawsuits right now, which if they win, were they to win, were the cases to not be just dismissed, could be good for shareholders, you know, in a couple years when the lawsuit works its way through. But there are people posting updates of the lawsuits on X. If you're interested in following the day-to-day filings, it's not something I'm going to be reporting on unless, you know, there's some major decision that is interesting for us. And I believe they also have a bunch of like 50 million restricted shares which are going to be unlocked at the end of this month, which I think is part of the reason that the stock price has been under pressure. Also, a lot of the pumpers of GNS are trying to spin those 50 million shares. You know how they do. Oh, the naked shorts, they're not prepared for this. You're adding liquidity into the float. I don't think there's any naked shorts worried about the float increasing on GNS. Just my opinion. But for them, it's bullish. For me, I'm kind of like, it's probably a non-event or more slanted to negative than a positive for me. Beyond Meat, 95 cents. DJT, 14.48. Gold and silver this morning. We got our gold and silver junior baskets up almost 2% on gold, almost 2.5% on silver. SLV is at 85. I am still at the moment long my SLV position. Hycroft now at 41.11. That means AMC is up $31 million on their remaining warrants and shares. Be interesting to me to see if at any point in Q1 AMC locks in the remaining profits to bump up liquidity on the balance sheet. Crypto this morning. Bitcoin 89,000. A little bit of a bleed off from 90,000 a few hours ago. The headlines this morning are that the Dows or all the indexes are up, rebounding for a second day after Trump called off his plans to put tariffs on, what was it, 8 or 9 European countries, because they weren't on board with him taking over Greenland. And he's been out there in Davos talking about having a plan. There's a tentative agreement, but as this headline says here, not everybody believes him. He was very light on the details about any Greenland agreement. Trump's latest tariff U-turn is sparking a global market rally and reviving talk of the taco trade. What does that mean again? Taco. Trump always chickens out. Oh my God. Well, I don't know that he's chickening out. I think he uses very bold statements, sometimes as bluffs, to get things done. He is very in your face, and you never know if he's serious or not. And is he chickening out, or was he just bluffing to try and move the needle a little bit? I don't know. That's a discussion for another day, but it's fascinating to watch. Trump said he'd walk back tariffs on European allies because he now had the concept of a deal over Greenland after weeks of demanding to annex it for the U.S. He had threatened to impose 10% tariffs on 8 European countries that had opposed his push to buy the Arctic island. Population, I think, in Greenland, under 60,000 people. I have never been to Greenland. I think it'd be cool to go to Greenland or Iceland. Maybe in the summer, though. I've traveled a lot of places. The closest I've been to Greenland or Iceland, well, it's not on the same side of the continent, but in that latitude would be somewhere up in Alaska. What else did I want to look at here this morning? Oh, wanted to look at Netflix. Netflix posted earnings for Q4 on January 20th, so that was 2 days ago. The stock took a little bit of a dip, $81, currently trading at $83.95 off of recent high of $134. So it's been cooling off for 7 months now. And I wanted to, because I haven't had time to do it yet, just do a quick look with you guys and see what exactly is going on here over at Netflix. We got 33 analysts with a average price target of $119. Anybody updated their target recently? Yes, several of them. 98, 103, 112, 125, 110, kind of all over the map, but all of them higher than where we're at right now. Error. All right, revenue trend is a gentle slope upward. We like that. Wall Street likes that. Gross profit looks good. Net income, we've had several quarters of net income coming down, which when you map how earnings affect the stock price, is it surprising that stock price has been going down? Not really. The most common thing that people look at are revenue and earnings expectations or posted results. There's a combination, a little bit of magic between both. When revenue, or maybe more importantly, earnings is coming down, some of the froth is going to get taken off of the stock price until the company can say earnings are going to turn around. So if we're looking at potentially buying Netflix, we'd want to go in and do some work digging through company filings, management notes, analyst updates to see at what point we think where's this thing going to bottom out, or is it going to bottom out? Maybe it's just going to keep falling, the net income. Free cash flow is solid, $1.8 billion to $2.5 billion per quarter. This is a cash flow machine. Netflix is not in trouble. Very nice margins, 20% profit, 24% operating, 45% gross. And the balance sheet, $9 billion in cash on the balance sheet. Total assets, $55.5 billion. Total liabilities, $28 billion. I mean, you can't ask for much better than that. $26 billion in shareholders' equity. And book value per share, nobody cares. Working capital, $2 billion. Working capital being current assets minus current liabilities. So balance sheet is fine. Plenty of operating cash flow. CapEx, manageable. Financing cash flow, what are they? They've been repurchasing stock. So if you see their cash going down, I love the people that look at the balance sheet. Oh, look at this company. Look at this blue chip. Their cash is going down. It's not as good as GameStop. But then they don't ever go to the cash flow statement, these clowns. They don't go to the cash flow statement to see where these companies are spending their cash. Most often, if it's a blue chip company, they're spending cash to repurchase common stock, which is bullish, or to issue dividends, which is also bullish. So don't let these yahoos trick you with analysis of companies by only looking at the balance sheet. It is the most hilarious thing I see, and it's typically GameStop YouTubers that are doing it because that's GameStop's strength. So they want to analyze every other company off of a balance sheet, but Wall Street cares about earnings and revenue trends, and you need to look at the cash flow statement. If you're looking at the balance sheet and making judgments on what's happening with cash, well, hey, all the clues of where the cash is being used are right here. And this is good, repurchasing stock. Anyhow, analysts are bullish. I would need to do a little more work. I'm not really super interested in owning Netflix, but when you have a cash printing machine like this, if it gets cheap enough, I mean, what choice do you have? You got to do it. You got to do it. If the price targets that you're figuring in your mind for a year or two out, or 2x where the stock is trading, if it keeps going down, then you got to do it. Who else has earnings this week? It was a lot of financial companies, right? Intel. Oh, that was January 12th. What am I looking at here? That's old. That's old. Here we go. Yeah, Intel is set to announce after hours today. I tweeted out yesterday, you know, we started really talking about Intel in the Discord and here on live streams back in 2024 when it was trading around $18, $19. It's at $53 right now. And I tweeted out, you know, that we have been buying this stock and talking about it for a long time, long before it was popular. When everybody was enthralled with NVIDIA, we were looking over at Intel as being a potential stock to move up. Here's some of the buys that I did back then. And why did I tweet that out? Because there are people out there in YouTube land who want you to only buy one stock, whatever their stock of the year is. They want you to go all in on one stock. And they get really mad when I talk to you guys about diversification, having a piece in different sectors, looking for winners that might be cheap right now, stable blue chip companies that might be out of favor. If you can come up with the story in your mind and back it up with research that they are likely to go up, if they're relatively cash healthy companies or name brand companies, blue chip type stuff, these can be really good parts of a diversified portfolio. And but people on YouTube that want you to buy only one stock, they don't want you to diversify. And when I use the D word, they're like, what is he talking about? Diversify into what? GameStop and AMC? No. That is not diversification. That's two speculative stocks. We're talking about tickers like Intel and several other value plays that we've identified over time. Am I saying by tweeting yesterday that every pick I've ever done over time has only doubled or tripled in value? No. Nobody is perfect, even the experts. You know, if you can have a 50% win rate on good picks that 2 or 3x, and you know how to hit the eject buttons on the ones that aren't working, you can beat the indexes. I would never say that all of my picks are 2 or 3xers, but what I'm pushing back on when I tweet out something like intel is these yahoos, these clowns say, Tony has never given you any good plays. We've given you plenty of good trades here on this channel. And I will continue to talk about building a diversified basket of stocks. Hopefully, you're on board with me that most of those should be companies with growing earnings and growing revenues. Solid. Fire and forget. They're boring. We're not going to be talking about them every day because we identify where we'd like to buy. We set our alerts. If it dips down in that zone, we buy, and we just sit back and wait. We check in on it once a quarter. So anyways, to whoever asked, or have all of your picks gone up? No. No one's picks go up. Nobody's that good. What I will keep on reminding you guys, have a sell plan before you buy. If your DD did not work out and the stock is starting to fade, hit the fucking eject button. Protect your capital. Even if it's a blue chip. What I tend to do, maybe on something like an Intel, if I think it's fallen to a low, I would get an initial entry, small position size, and then watch the chart. Start watching the chart. Start really paying attention. If it goes up, maybe I buy into strength. If it's just kind of ping-ponging, then maybe I pick up a couple shares if I feel like it's really forming a stable base. But if it's falling, then I have a tough decision to make. If I really believe that my DD is good, but I just got my initial entry too early, then I will purchase a higher quantity of shares at a lower price. And I might do that several times. But I'd prefer to not be in the catching a falling knife situation. I'd rather wait till it bottoms out and then you see the stock start turning around even a little bit for a week. But sometimes the entries aren't perfect. So my initial entry is always on almost any ticker small. And then I start really paying attention. And if it goes down, I will add in size. If I believe in the company, if the company's financials and fundamentals are sound, where it gets really dangerous doing that, buying more as it dips, is if the company is failing, if the price is going down because they're diluting, if the price is going down because the company is consistently losing money, you need to be really careful there. I am not a big fan of buying the dips ahead of forecasted corporate actions, which are going to, in a meaningful way, increase the float. Come in after that. If you like the company, let the corporate action play out. And then when the price comes way down, then you buy. That does require, I get it, requires you to put some thought into, is a corporate action likely? If one is, in my analysis, I'm going to err on the side of caution and just sit back. Because if I'm wrong, I can always come in and buy into upward momentum. But if I'm right, I don't want to buy and then get whacked 30% in a day when the company announces some news, a prospectus. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, we're going to be talking from time to time this year about diversification, having a risk management plan. It doesn't mean that you're negative on every stock. It means that you're rationally analyzing both the upside potential and the downside risk and have a plan have a plan for both. Zach says, I've gotten to the point, if I'm not willing to buy 100 shares at a time, it's not the time to buy for me. I like that theory, Zach. And the other thing you could do, we talk about the wheel strategy from time to time here. If you're looking at getting an entry on a stock, like let's say you were not willing to buy ONDS until it falls below $9, you could sell $9 puts on this stock and start collecting premium income right now. If it fell below $9, you would be assigned at the expiration date of your put, and you'd buy the shares at $9. But that's kind of like the decision you make before you sell the put. Am I willing to buy it if it falls below $9? Yes, I am. I'd pay $9 for this stock. I'm not saying to do that on ONDS. I haven't even looked at the options on it, but these are tools that you can use, learn how to use the wheel strategy. If you've identified a stock that you're interested in taking in a position in, but it's a little higher than you'd like, well, where would you like to buy it? Okay, sell a put at that level. That's immediate income to you. Some of your cash will be held aside by your broker. That you can't use the cash, but you get to keep it. The premium is income to you immediately, and your cash will be held in escrow by your broker until the options expire. So we tend to do these on weeklies, like spend the weekend. What do we want to wheel next week? Do the options trade on Monday with expirations for Friday. And then you can reassess on a weekly basis. There's other ways to do it. You could pick expirations further out. But it's much better to be a seller of options than a buyer. The odds are typically in the house's favor. And if you are selling, be it covered calls or cash secured puts, you are the house. You're identifying a place when you sell a cash secured put at which you'd be willing to buy the stock. If you own the stock, let's say you get assigned and you own it, then you start saying, where would I be willing to dump this stock? 15, 16, sell a covered call at that price. Again, immediate income. And if it moves to the price you'd be willing to sell, you get out at a profit on your shares. It's a beautiful virtual ATM. Start thinking like the big boys think. If you're buying puts, you're buying calls, you're gambling on a lot of things going right. If you're selling calls and selling puts, you are the house. You are generating immediate income with a risk that you have predefined. I have a playlist on the very basics of options trading and the wheel. If you're curious about starting your journey to learn a little bit more, do not start trading options if you've never studied it. And we're happy to have options or wheel discussions with you guys in the Discord on any ticker. I find that even myself having people to bounce ideas off of is good in the analysis. And, sometimes things change very rapidly in a ticker, and maybe you need an exit plan and you're really not sure what's the best of three options to pick to get out of your trade. Roll it, for example, let it get exercised. There's various ways to get out of trades when they move fast. If you decide, I want to keep these shares, for example. It's good to have a community of people to talk to. And we're happy to do that with you in the Discord. Railtown is our OTC spec play. This is probably the most speculative ticker that I own right now. Why do I call it speculative? Because up to this point, The company is still what we call pre-revenue. It trades on the CSE up in Canada under the ticker RAIL, R-A-I-L. They have a secondary listing in the US, OTC, under RLAIF. This company recently acquired another company. That's where the orange line is. And they also announced a partnership with TELUS up in Canada. TELUS having recently built and outfitted a hyperscaler facility to create a sovereign AI conglomerate for Canadian companies that want all of their data protected in Canada. And Railtown will be partnering with TELUS. And this facility is coming online, and we're expecting, we know that there's going to be a revenue share between Railtown and TELUS. There's a lot of debate about what that revenue is going to be, what the revenue share percentage is going to be. Trust me, my numbers are way lower than anything else you're hearing out there because I like reasonable estimates. And then if I'm surprised to the upside, great. But if there's people telling you that TELUS is going to share 50% of their revenue with Railtown, I mean, come on. You got a software outfit versus a company that invested billions of dollars in a facility. You think they're just going to hand over 50% of the revenue? 20%? Seems a little strange to me to be that lofty. I get it. I mean, once you get pie in the sky in your eye, it's tough to get off that talking point. But I live in a world of reality, and I don't think that it's going to be anywhere that high, 20 to 50% revenue share. Would I celebrate and pop some champagne if it was 20, 25%? Yeah, I would. But here on YouTube, I think I have a responsibility to be reasonable and give you guys some rational analysis, not pie in the sky in your eye. I am bullish on the play. I've been buying down here in the demand zone as we tend to do. I did take my initial entry. We're talking about Intel, how I will take a small entry. For me, this was a very small entry in the 40s to see if we went over $1 on the AIP deal announcement. We didn't. We went right back up to the resistance zone, the supply zone, and then it cratered back down. So once that didn't work out, I still have those shares, but it was a very small amount, and I've been doing 90% of my purchases down here in the past month or two. This is a coin toss play, right? Because it's pre-revenue. We're waiting on execution, and we don't know what the revenue share agreement looks like. We don't even know what the revenue looks like. So this is kind of a leap of faith. I figure if I get it cheap enough and at least management delivers some revenue by the middle of this year, I'll probably be okay. I certainly can't guarantee you I'll be okay. Zach says, I don't have enough faith to know where a stock will end by end of week or month, so I sell at the strike right above my average. It does limit the upside, but the premium is more. I'm fine with the results. Zach, that's a perfectly reasonable plan, and if you're happy with it, then keep doing that. A lot of people get worried when they're running the wheel and they're selling covered calls. Like, well, what? Let's say you're doing it on AMC and you're selling a call at $3. What if Roaring Kitty comes back and it runs to 20? If you're worried about that, don't sell covered calls. That's what I would say. But what is in the probability of probabilities, what is the likelihood that's going to happen? Minuscule. Meanwhile, you're going to just have all your shares and be making no income on them. If you're determined to hold, no matter what's coming with dilution, if you're determined to hold and you're not selling covered calls, I don't know. I let the paralysis, I let that go a long time ago. Sell the fucking covered calls. Make the income. If the price is right, you don't want to do it for a penny. And you probably, like Zach said, you want it to be, the strike price to be above your cost basis. You don't want to, if it does run up, you don't want to lose your shares at a loss. Anyways, I like the plan, Zach, and there are many ways to run the wheel depending on the ticker and what your cost basis is. And typically, on the weekends, that's your good time to go look for companies that you'd like to own. That's your first criteria on the wheel. Would I mind owning this company? And is the volatility high enough for me to sell puts on it? It's kind of your weekend homework every weekend. GME holding up nicely at 22.54, edging up since the market open. We like it. I'm going to drop a poll in the chat. I want to know, of those of you that are here, will Ryan Cohen buy more shares Thursday and Friday? He's already dropped over $20 million. Does he have a 4-day plan? What do you think? Zachary, getting back to your point about not having enough faith about where a stock might end. When we're doing our little roundtable powwows over the weekend, talking about which stocks our little group might want to wheel, we will kind of throw out a basket of tickers that each one of us found and then have some discussion about the pros and cons. Would we want to potentially own this stock if we got stuck with it from selling a cash secured put? Once we kind of narrow that list down to the leading candidate, then the question for everybody becomes, at what strike price would I be willing to buy the stock? And even if we all agree on the same ticker, every person in the group might have a different analysis on what strike price they're comfortable with. So there is no wrong answer. And the same goes for establishing a strike price for covered calls. There will be people in the group that, just like you, they want the maximum premium, and they don't care if they lose the shares. They don't care one bit. Do I get out at a profit on my shares and collect a fat premium? Good enough for me. And then there's others that maybe want to hold the shares a little bit longer, so they'll set their strike price higher on the covered call. All right, Zach, good luck to you on Netflix at 83. I mean, it's definitely at a price point where it has my interest. I need to spend a few hours, if I ever get a couple of free hours, looking into Netflix. But it's not one of those stocks that I feel like I need to rush right now and do my analysis today. I think I have a few days. And we're almost at the weekend, and we're going to be snowed in this weekend. My wife's been asking me every day this week, are you driving me to work? I'm like, honey, it's not snowing till Saturday night. Are the cats outside right now? Yes, it's 70 degrees. Don't worry about the cats until Saturday night. Holy smokes. Look at this. GameStop warrants. I do own some warrants also. I don't own any calls on GameStop. 363. Booyah. I like it. I was buying down here. The low 250. It ran all the way up to 440. I did not sell. I want to give Ryan some time to see if there was any interesting announcements. We got till the end of October. It'd be pretty cool if over the next couple months the good news keeps piling in. And if it doesn't, then I've kind of set a timeline, and we've talked about this in the Discord, of June is my month of decision making, because the theta decay will really start kicking in July. It kind of does that parabolic exponential decay. You go for where the time value is going down slowly but relatively flat. And then it'll drop to zero with it'll crash the warrant price if it's not at or near $32. We're a long way away from $32 right now, so just my rough guess would be that most of this price that we're seeing here is time value, not intrinsic value. There is no intrinsic value. They're not in the money. UK Dave says, when is AMC's next earnings call? Let's just admire this GameStop warrant chart one more time. Come on, Roaring Kitty. I'm going to pray to the gods that you like the sign of strength from Ryan Cohen. And you're going to say, I'm still in. Just tell us you're still in. I'd take a little volatility spike. I'd take a couple more buys from Ryan Cohen today and tomorrow too. Dave says, when is AMC's next earnings call? Good question. Should be end of Feb, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Last year it was February 26th. Which was, excuse me, hiccups. The last Wednesday of February. Which would be around the 25th this year if they stick to that sort of schedule. Zach says, I look at Earnings Whisper for the weekly earnings calls. Simplifies things for me. Plus, I have monthly Whispers earnings calendar as my PC background on the monitor. I like that. Earnings Whisper is a good follow on Twitter. And from time to time, I try and remember to post the weekly in Discord, but I don't always remember. So if you're on X, that is a good follow. If you want to know what's coming up next week, this week on earnings, pre-market, after hours for every day of the week. Dave says, is it for Q4 and the financial year ending 2025? That is correct, Dave. You are correct, sir. Yes. It will be for Q4 and for the entire year. I did publish on January 1st or 2nd my prediction for Q4 earnings and free cash flow. And I think we talked in that video a little bit about my concerns about Q1. So if you're curious, my thoughts, go back and find that video from the beginning of the year. and then we'll see how I did. We'll see how I did on my forecast in a month. Box office right now for the quarter at $468 million. That is ahead of recent years. It's the best January we've had to date, up to the 22nd, since 2020. That was before COVID hit. But when I look at the calendar for Q1, we got a couple good movies middle of February, and there's not a whole lot more exciting going on in Q1. And what's been carrying us up to this point in Q1 is the Q4 holdovers. Beautiful. Marty Supreme, Anaconda, The Housemaid, all of those. Wicked, Avatar. But once those dry up towards the end of this month, I'm not getting overly excited about this. I see a lot of people, oh, look, this Q4 is going to break all records. We're off to a great start. If you go look at the calendar, the rest of this quarter is not that exciting. We got Wuthering Heights. We have Good Luck, mid-Feb. Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. Wuthering Heights. Around Valentine's should do good. Not a lot here else. That Scream 7, it'll be okay. Nothing. It's not going to make $1 billion. Hoppers for the kids. Action, adventure, animation, comedy. March 6th. The Bride, a little something for the horror fans. Project Hail Mary is what we're pinning our hopes on for Q1, in my opinion. And I'm hearing really good things about it. But we only got 10 days, 11 days to pump in revenue from this film. So I would say, keep expectations of Q1 in check. And I am not changing my opinion that there will be a pretty severe cash burn in Q1, necessitating the reason that the company asked the lenders for permission to increase the ATM capacity from 50 million to 150 million as early as February 2nd. I think it would be foolish to ignore that. They don't ask for those things for no reason. No filing is an accident. Dates are not arbitrary. They're on purpose. Zachary says, I'm seeing 28 years later, Bone Temple and Mercy soon. I would like to, we watched 28 years later. I will go watch that again. And I'm sure that we will be going to see Mercy this weekend, although it's getting horrible reviews from the critics. I'm not going to go drive to go see it in IMAX because I'd have to drive all the way across town and sit in the crappiest seats. Our IMAX AMC here has horrible, the old style seating. I'll just go see it in Dolby. I wonder if it's available in Dolby. We'll go see it. I might go see it today. The wife is off work for the next several days. So typically if I'm going to take her to a movie, it'll be like a Thursday through Saturday type thing. Real 3D, dine-in, delivery to seats. So it's not showing in Dolby at our dine-in theater. I would watch it in 3D. I don't typically like 3D movies, but What is showing in Dolby still? Our theaters. I really like our Dolby theater here. Comfy seats, dine-in theater. Oh, 28 years later. All right. I will probably go see that again. I don't think my wife would watch it again, but I will go watch it again. Seen just about everything else. Dead Man's Wire, maybe we'll go see that one if we have time. It's not doing so well. Anya says, why are the GME warrants up a lot more than GME? That is a fascinating question, Anya, that I don't have the answer to. And they're also outperforming relative to the standard October $32 call options. And the only rational answer I have is it might be the fact that the warrants have a finite supply. There's only so many warrants in existence. Call options, you could sell an infinite amount of those, but the warrants are outperforming relative to the call options for sure. Let's see, the stock is up 5.4%. What are the warrants up? They're up 12%. Yeah, I mean, it's a good question, Anya. I don't know that I have a perfect answer, but I like it. I like it. There haven't been too many tickers where I've watched a warrant process this closely. So I laid out my theories before the warrants were issued. Some of them have been true. Some of them have not panned out. I thought there'd be more parity between the call options and the warrants. For example, I was wrong. The warrants have outperformed the call options. You know, every time that I'm wrong, I like to study, theorize, put it out there for you guys. And then if we're wrong, we use that as learning for next time. But my general belief was buy the warrants when they're cheap. Hang on and see if GameStop has any good news. We got a year, and June will be our make a decision month. Unless the stock crashes, right? In which case, maybe we sell everything. I'm not expecting that. I don't think Ryan Cohen would be buying yesterday and the day before if a crash was imminent based on Q4 news. Dave says, it is a pity AA has not managed to repeat the Swiftie Beyonce type events so much at the hype at the time, but now nothing new. I'm with you, Dave. I mean, it's hard to find other artists similar to Taylor Swift in terms of reach and global appeal, but they hired a VP just to find more of these type of concert events. What has that person been doing? Jack shit, as far as we can see. And we desperately need it. I mean, I'm going to hold out hope that there's stuff in the works. Adam Aaron promised a January or February potential news announcement. Is it another concert? I don't know. I'm going to hold out hope, and I don't think they hired a VP for no reason, but the execution has been really damn slow at a time where we sure could use some good news. Zach says he's seeing Mercy in 3D. I don't think it would be bad, but if it's sometimes fun to laugh at bad movies when the theater is empty. I'm not thinking that it's going to be bad, Zachary. I'm thinking I'm going to be bored if half the movie is watching this guy sitting in a chair talking to the camera, the AI judge. I think the action sequences will be fine. And I'm going for that. Like I'm I'm telling myself the action sequences are going to be good. But if literally half the movie is just me watching him sitting in a chair talking to the camera, I'm going to be irritated. It's okay. I have A-list. It's free for me. Zachary says, cannot create infinite liquidity for warrants. No. The amount of warrants issued was equal to the amount of shares at the time divided by 10. So there is a finite supply. Now you can short warrants and create a synthetic extra amount, but I don't think that there has been a ton of shorting of the warrants. Let's double check. Carnivore snacks making me hungry. Yeah, there has been some shorting of the warrants. 3 million on the last report. So that would be artificial extra supply. Somebody sold something they didn't own. There can be fails to deliver on warrants. And there have been fails on the warrants. I don't get wrapped around the axle around this stuff. I did say before they were issued, you should expect FTDs. You should expect the warrants will be shorted. People are telling me, no, that's impossible. No, it is possible and it will happen. And it did happen. But am I worried about it? No, not really. What's going to drive the warrants is GameStop news. That's really all we need to worry about. If the news is there to drive the momentum up on the stock, the warrants are going to be fine. And if there is no news and the stock just languishes between 21 and 30 bucks, we're going to be screwed by the end of this year. I'm staying positive. I'm going to hold them as long as I can. Elite Piscina, buenos dias. He says, I have 25,000 shares of AMC stock. This market is made to steal money from retail investors. I mean, they're going to short companies which are troubled. Piscina. It's up to us to read the filings, read the financials, make sure we understand them, and read the company risk disclosures in every 10Q. And AMC has been telling us, I get it, a lot of us were or are betting on a short squeeze, and that's fine. I got off of that train several years ago when the company started running out of cash and shares and was forced to do APE. You know, the reality of the financials catch up to us at some point. The company's been warning us in every 10Q since 2020 that holding shares, you could lose all your money. They were going to need to likely continue to issue shares to raise cash until box office improved. And that's what we've seen play out. Exactly what the company warns about in big, bold print at the beginning of every 10Q has played out. So I don't think you should ignore risk disclosures because your narrative is just, we're going to squeeze the shorts. The shorts aren't scared. What is making you lose money is listening to the wrong people, in my opinion. People that are not looking at the financials in an honest way. People that are not reporting on cash flow. People that are down talking someone like me that is telling you there's dilution coming and it's going to drive the price down. Those are the people that are making you lose money. Not the market. The people you are listening to. Stick around. You're not going to like many things that I have to say, but we've been right far more often on AMC than wrong, and there's a reason I'm not red on the play. I've made a lot of enemies. I get it, by being honest with people. Zach says, I'm hoping Warner Brothers shareholders listen to Paramount and take them up on their offer. I think the execs are being bitter political. I do think, Zachary, that the Warner Brothers, Paramount, Netflix thing is falling largely along political lines, which is unfortunate. And I'm in terms of supporting cinema, I'm very nervous about Netflix having that kind of power. I'm not in favor of them getting control of Warner Brothers, but we'll see what happens. And if the two companies agree to move forward, then I will pray that the regulators don't approve it. AMC showing a little strength. ONDS showing strength, up 1%. GameStop moving up 5%. Boy, man, the bears are mad at me for talking about Ryan Cohen buying. How dare you share news? How dare you be happy that the CEO is buying? How dare you, Tony? You're a grifter. What can I say? I own the stock. I'm in the green. I'd like to have a successful swing trade exit. Am I happy the CEO is buying? Damn skippy I am. My just to wrap up here, my thesis on GameStop is not around brick and mortar stores. I don't really care about that. I'm bullish on GameStop because I believe in the good of Ryan Cohen, that he does have some plan over the next however many years. I don't have a timeline, don't really care. 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. I think that he is looking for a way to put the cash on the balance sheet to use to transform the company. And I think if he is able to do that, I call this a speculative trade because I can't guarantee you that he will do that. But if he does that, I think we have a chance to have a meaningful transformation in the earnings and the price, and hence why he's trying to get this comp package in front of shareholders to vote so he can start really getting to work to put that money to use and make something happen. It might be a couple years, so you better be patient. If you're not on board for that, I don't think there's any short squeeze here that I'm talking about or forecasting. It's not why I'm trading GameStop. It's a speculative small position for me based on my belief that Ryan Cohen genuinely has good intentions and plans to use the cash to transform the company. That's my bet. I could be wrong. Time will tell. The bears are going to be mad at me for, there's no fundamentals here to justify the price. I get it. I've talked about that many times. That's not why I'm investing in the stock or gambling in the stock, whatever you want to call it. We have plenty of other solid blue chip tickers that we're in that are doing just fine, that are the bulk of the portfolio. But I like some speculative plays. If I'm right, 1, 2, 5 years from now, and I'm careful about my entries, then I think I'll be okay. And if I'm not, I will exit the trade. Remember, going back to what we talked about in the beginning, have an exit plan if things aren't working out. Zach says, I own 1 share of WB just for fun. Want to see if I get any Warner's emails. That's a good idea. I want Warner to tell shareholders who are prospective buyers for the old media assets they claim they can get more for. Yeah, it might be fun to do an update video on that whole mess this weekend, Zachary. All right, ladies and gents, I'm going to eat some breakfast and get my outdoor workout in, and then think about driving up to HEB, checking the parking lot, see if everybody's still going crazy here, loading up for Winter Apocalypse 2026. What do we have in the poll here? I asked you guys, will Ryan Cohen buy more GME shares today and tomorrow? 65% of you say yes. I think there's a good probability that you might be correct. I don't know. I'd love to see it. It'd be a ultimate FU to the Bears if he's buying today and tomorrow. These are the last 2 days that insiders can do purchases before the Q4 blackout period for GameStop begins. So we will see. Let's go out with a little bit of Up and to the Right, our tongue-in-cheek song about GameStop.
Up and to the right, up and to the right, up and to the right.
Hello, millionaires. Short squeeze plays where fortunes flip. GameStop's journey, an epic trip. From humble roots to the moon we fly. A company's dream will amplify. Reddit warriors, keyboards in hand. With their eyes on the prize, they took a stand. No one's selling, we're here to fight. How does it go? Up and to the right. Up and to the right, we're in for the ride. It's us on the rise, it can't be denied. Up and to the right, through the day and night. Together we'll soar, molasses in sight. Up and to the right, we're in for the ride. It's us on the rise, it can't be denied. Up and to the right, through the day and night. Together we'll soar, molasses in sight. Hedge funds trembling, Kenny's in shock. GameStop stock, it'll never stop. From diamond hands to rocket ships, we're not selling, we buy every dip. Up and to the right, we're in for the ride. Up and to the right, it can't be denied. Up and to the right, through the day and night. Up and to the right, molasses in sight. Billions in cash on the balance sheet. We will win even if they cheat. Dilute us more, we don't care. But value grows with every share. The doubters say it can't be done, but the retail army we've already won. With every share we'll never stop. Investors say we love the stock. Up and to the right, we're in for the ride. It's us on the rise, it can't be denied. Up and to the right, through the day and night. Together we'll soar. Up and to the right. Up and to the right. We're in for the ride. Together we'll soar. Up and to the right.
Surprise!
We're gonna win.